Hey, look, we're live. Hey, welcome to the live stream. All right, so if you were around last week, if you were watching the stream last week, you might have noticed that it very abruptly stopped. We were watching VGHS. I haven't watched the show since it came out. Came out 13 years ago. I was having a good time, reminiscing. Hey, what's up, Ghosty? What's up? Was having a good time, reminiscing, watching the show, you know, riding that old YouTube high. Well, YouTube didn't like that, and put the kibosh on it. They shut the stream down. So I was like, you know what? I feel like I can't do too much more of that. Hey, what's up, WAF? Welcome to the stream. We got 2 members in the stream right now. Hell yeah. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so they YouTube wasn't a fan. YouTube said no, and so I was like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it anymore. We watched a good chunk of Red versus Blue. And we started, and on every Red versus Blue stream, YouTube was like, hey, no. And I was like, we're having fun. We're hanging out. We're enjoying it, whatever. It never shut down my stream, but then this one, it did. And I was just like, I don't know that this is worth it anymore. So I'm foregoing it for at least this week. I'll see what else we can cook up. The next couple of weeks will probably be pretty fun just because there's going to be a lot of different stuff. Today we're doing some animations. We only have a couple more left. And then all the animation for the entire film is going to be done, which is friggin' insane. Let me just talk about a couple of things I want to hit on. One being this production. Should we keep everything on track? Which everything is tracking. Everything is looking good. Lots of people coming in to really pull it together in the final hour, which is super cool. But with that, you know, it's almost here, and it will be 14 months in the making. 14 months of people doing this after work, you know, on the weekends, over Discord, that whole thing. And I was recently watching because, like, you know, for myself, I've been looking into just like, you know, what's the future of a lot of this stuff, right? And part of that is just like, you know, the being able to actually create and, like, you know, fully do a production relatively quick, and Unreal Engine is certainly a popular tool for that. And I was watching like a talk with it's like with the Third Floor, which is the studio that made Predator: Killer of Killers, which is an animated film, and they made that in, I think, 18 months. And that was like record time, right? To be fair, movie looks great. Sequences are great. Like fantastic stuff. They're building it all from the ground up, all that jazz. But that's their full-time job. You know, that's part of it. And they were able to pull it off, and it was cool and stuff. And so, like, we're, you know, maybe not to quite that degree, but we're also doing it as volunteers before and after working on the weekends. And we're basically going to be able to say, like, hey, we did the same thing with nothing. So that's going to be pretty cool. And in less time. To be fair, the film's a little bit shorter. So our film is a little bit shorter than theirs. But you know, it was just something I was thinking about. It's like, that's going to be kind of cool. to have and see. But all right, so we're gonna jump right into it. We got ourselves. I finished building a level last night. This is the last scene. Well, set of scenes. Like, this is the last location, the last environment. And so we're gonna start dropping in some animation and doing some stuff. Let's see here. What's going on in chat? Long time no see. Big stuff happening. I'm halfway across the country. Oh, dialogue box blocked your message. I'm halfway across the country right now in New Hampshire, going to the Sig Sauer Academy Experience Center. I'm a huge fan collector of Sig, so this is a big deal for me. Unknown WAF. New Hampshire has a special place in my heart. New Hampshire is where I grew up. I love it up there. So I assume you're going to Portsmouth if you're going to Sig Sauer. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I have some friends. I don't know if they still work there. I had a couple of friends like right out of high school. They got like some manufacturing jobs and stuff, and then they just like rode that for years. I don't know if they're still working there, but yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, New Hampshire's big. Let me think. Any recommendations I have for you? JonTron lives in New Hampshire. You're right next to where JonTron lives. Yeah, don't drop any P320s. Kablamo. Let me think. Any recommendations in New Hampshire near Portsmouth? So like I lived in New Hampshire until 2014. No, not 2014. 2018. I lived in New Hampshire until 2018. And then when I moved away, obviously COVID ended up happening. So I haven't spent a lot of time in the Portsmouth area post-COVID. And there's a cigar bar in Portsmouth that is pretty good. It's like an underground cigar bar. That place is pretty decent if you like cigars and whiskey and stuff like that. I'm trying to think what else would still be open over there. There's a place called not Brickstones. That's a breakfast place. There's like a stone oven place. My sister likes to go there, but I can't remember the name of it. But it's some brick oven pizza place in Portsmouth. Trying to think what else. There used to be a sandwich shop that I really liked in Portsmouth, but I would be surprised if it survived. There used to be a coffee shop in downtown Portsmouth that's not open anymore. It was called Breaking New Ground. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, the Portsmouth area, I haven't been there very much since. They've opened up a couple of new restaurants, but they're pretty basic. They're like they're basically like, you know, like they feel almost like chain restaurants. Going up into like if you were going up towards like Dover, if you go to Dover, Flight Coffee is pretty good. It's pretty good if you want coffee. Tucker's, if you want breakfast. Tucker's in Dover, pretty solid. Yo! Will you finally play some games once you're done animating and compositing the film? I'm really eager to see you play that game. Oh well. I might. I might play some games. I'll be honest. Once this film is out, I feel like I just need to like detox a little bit. Why is Unreal Engine running so slow? We'll drop. There we go. Well, I hadn't said Tucker's yet because Tucker's is in Dover, and if he's going up to be in Portsmouth, getting down to Dover's not terribly far, but like unless you have a car and you're like going around, I was trying to think of things in Portsmouth. You know, that wasn't the rundown Chuck E. Cheese. So yeah, that's where my mind was. I'm closer to Exeter, Epping, if that helps. Okay. Exeter. My dad grew up around Exeter. But again, I'm trying to think of places that like either didn't close down years ago or didn't close post-COVID. That's the tough part around that area. Because whenever I visit, I never go over there anymore. I used to love to go to Portsmouth because that was the big city when I was growing up. It's like, oh man, the big city of Portsmouth. But I don't go anymore. Because usually when I go up there, I'm visiting family, and my family doesn't live near Portsmouth, and like I don't have a ton of reason. I have a couple of friends that like sometimes like I've definitely gone to Portsmouth to meet up with them, but then like we usually now just go like further north or like out down a few cities over and stuff. So like it honestly kind of depends. All right, I gotta start animating. I gotta get on top of something. But to go back to Ghosty's question, isn't Thirsty Moose is in Dover. Thirsty Moose is very good. I don't know if they're still open. Hold up. Thirsty Moose. Oh, it looks like there is one in Portsmouth. I can't remember being at the one in Portsmouth, but there is. It looks like the one in Dover is still open, which that's the one I would recommend. Thirsty Moose Tap House in Dover, pretty good. They have really good pizza. Would definitely recommend. Thirsty Moose is solid. And right across from there is a is a pizza place that's pretty good, which is called hold up. Let me look on the map. This is becoming a scavenger hunt. Thirsty Moose, and then across the street from the Thirsty Moose, what's that pizza place called? What's it called? Am I looking at... That's Thirsty Moose. Oh, it's across the street this way. La Festa Brick and Brew. That's got some pretty good pizza. And they sell it by the slice, which is super nice. You walk in and you're like, I want 2 slices of pizza. Any pizza I want. La Festa's pretty solid. At least it used to be. To be fair, I haven't been to La Festa in like 8 years because I don't live up there anymore. Goodness, there's quite a few new restaurants I've not ever heard of. Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah, and then Tucker's is another good one to check out. Honestly, like, if you were going further north, I'd have more recommendations. Portsmouth. You could always jump over and go to Kittery, Maine. Kittery's honestly, if you're in Portsmouth, there's lots to do over in Maine. I feel like Maine kind of has the better, the Portsmouth is nice because there's no sales tax, but Maine kind of has the better attractions. Yeah, I don't recognize a lot of these restaurants in Portsmouth anymore. To be fair, a lot of the restaurants in Portsmouth were kind of on their way out. But yeah, all right. I'm going to stop going off on that, about that. Man, we need a bar called Thirsty Moose in my city, seen as it's called Moose Jaw. You definitely do. Dude, New Hampshire's got the greatest moose bars. Thirsty Moose, the Muddy Moose. Those are the two that I can think of. And then we also used to have a Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse. If you didn't have that growing up, that was Canadian Rainforest Cafe. It was the greatest. I am going on a rant, but Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse was the greatest thing. There was a moose, an animatronic moose head mounted to a wall that was Texas Roadhouse style, would talk and sing and do all sorts of stuff. It's fantastic. But I don't even think there's any more Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse. Hold up. Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse locations. The fact that nothing's coming. Oh, goodness. There's a couple. Wait, did they reopen? Okay. It looks like the close. Is there one? Did they reopen? No way. Oh, no. Permanently closed. Yep, that was the one. Never mind. Permanently closed. I don't think permanently closed. No, not Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse. Yeah, so Bugaboo Creek Steakhouse doesn't exist anymore, but it really was Canadian Rainforest Cafe. That's what we had. There. Oh man. Ghosty, going back to your question. I'm not doing what I came on live stream to do. Going back to your question about just playing games and what's gonna happen, after this comes out. And it's definitely gonna come out, and I feel like I'm just gonna detox for a little bit. I have some ideas for small shorts, but I kind of want to do some stuff that's more experimental. And I'll probably still live stream and game and stuff just to have a presence. Kind of think of what the next thing would be, but there are a couple of things that I want to do that are going to be probably more experimental. Just building up to this, We sent him on such a long rabbit hole. You really did. You had me going. All right. That was fun though. It was a good rabbit hole to go down. I enjoyed that one. I wonder. Oh, I gotta switch some of my settings. Shaboobidoo. Bop 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 boo dop boo doo boo doo. Oh wait. Frame. Let's see. I felt like I was gonna talk about video game stuff. I feel like video game news has been interesting. EA got bought. Kind of. So regarding that whole situation, because I was kind of curious about what does that actually mean? What does it look like? I should do a Stardew Valley short. Honestly, probably wouldn't be a bad one to do. just total pivot. Open up to the Stardew Valley fandom. I think would probably be pretty good. Yeah, Stardew would be. Now I'm trying to think of like what's kind of stories we could do, because I would partially be tempted to just do my wife and I's current storyline, but some of it is entangled in all sorts of drama, which maybe is good for television, you know? Who knows? All right, I think I'm going to do that at 16 by 9. Yeah, and go see. I'm definitely going to try and get around to all that. There's a lot of things that I've just been putting off. Just because it's like I'm working on this, and you know, I got a life outside of this too, so you know, that's got its own needs. But it's giving drama. Exactly. I don't want the drama. Alright. So we need these hell pods to go down. I just learned that there is an official medical diagnosis recognized by American Medicare for having problems with your in-laws. Whoa. That's pretty crazy. I kind of lucked out with in-laws, honestly. I feel like in a world where your in-laws are your worst nightmare, Plot Coalition kind of lucked out. Seriously though, my in-laws are pretty chill, and I'm not just saying that because my wife's on the stream. All things considered, I think I have some of the better in-laws in marriage history compared to some of the horror stories I've heard. Just offset those landing a little bit. The woman I married was the only girlfriend who had parents that didn't adore me. Whoa. Is that how you knew? Did you know? You were like, hey, yo, that's gotta be something. Yo, what's up, Jonah? Jonah's always swinging in, leaving comments. Oh, that was something I was going to ask, folks. How are you enjoying the character biographies? Those are, so like to give context as to where those come from, those are from, like when we were writing it, you know, there was, like, obviously, I totally brain farted. In painting games, feel free to ask your questions. Brain fart. Back to it. So, every single character in the film has like some sort of background. No matter the size of their role, we wanted to give them a background in the film. So that way, the actors who are voicing them kind of knew like the place the Helldiver was like coming from, and there was a lot more, built in, because there's a varying lifespan of Helldiver. and, uh, and so that was, that was a huge part of, making the characters come to life and giving the actors to something to base it off of. So the writing team, after we got a couple drafts of the script done, they started working on those character bios. And like they just add so much more depth, and I think it's a lot of fun to be able to see. Hey, Ghosty, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that donation, and I love the cadet as well. He is by far Super Earth's greatest heroes. I just finished up a bunch of animations with the cadet, so they're pretty good. He's looking quite nice. I think we did do some of them on stream, and then I did quite a few ever. Lewis is the best. However, you can't match Varen's drip. True. Varen is a part of a squadron that I think everybody will think is pretty cool. If the film does well enough, maybe that squad specifically will be demanded by the fans to be added to the game. Because the drip goes pretty hard, not gonna lie. I'd love to see a Ghost Recon film. Instead of elite soldiers, it's the guys who don't know a flashbang from a frag. That could be pretty good. I could get up, come on, get down with the sickness, if you know what I mean. Let's grab. We need. Is that just it shaking? Are you aching? Yep. For some bacon? Yep. He's a big pig. Yep. You could be a big pig too. Shutters. Is that from the top? Make it drop. That's a big ol' hell pod. Get a bucket and a mop for that big old hell pod. Two words, one number. Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 animation would go pretty crazy in this day and age. I will say, like, those old Team Fortress 2, like, promotional animations and stuff. I remember watching those as a kid. Who knows, maybe it was inadvertently deep-seated in my psyche. Of like, hey, one day I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a big boy. My friends and I did a Breakpoint playthrough where there were around 12 moments of, okay, we're going in stealthy. Suppressors on. Explosion. Sorry, I had the grenade launcher equipped. My brother used to be really into. He went through a phase of being really into Ghost Recon games. I remember when Ghost Recon was like pretty much like a Battlefield competitor, I suppose. Which was an interesting era. And yeah, like, I don't know. I was never super into the games. But in a similar vein to some of the newer Ghost Recon games, Arc Raiders definitely has my attention. I would do an Arc Raiders short. Just because, like, I really like the the world that it's in. I hate extraction shooters. I hate, the loot mechanics and the whole, like, oh, you gotta whatever, like, you're gonna lose all your stuff potentially if you go out on this mission. Like, I hate those kinds of games, but Arc Raiders looks legit, and I hope the player base doesn't become, like, super toxic. The player base during the open beta was a little bit toxic. Like, there were some cool people that you met, ran around with, and stuff, and then there were some people that were just, like, griefers, and it was just like, you're taking the fun out of it, which was, like, honestly what killed Red Dead Online. I loved Red Dead Online, but man, the griefers who would just come in and kill you too, and it's like, dude, I'm here to be a cowboy. I'm here to run around as a cowboy. I want to be Arthur Morgan. But yeah. All right. Little rant over. Slam Filmmaker in the chat. If you haven't been to his channel, go check it out. If you like Helldivers animations, he's got some of the best darn ones out there. But yes, thank you. Like, making those meet the team stuff, we were just talking about it, and, like, that is, like, for me, like, I think it's really cool to share. I always love stuff like that. So the fact that, like, we're actually able to share something from, like, our production in that realm, like, makes me pretty stoked, pretty high on life for that one. And it goes into, we were having a discussion on your video about this a little bit, but, like, part of, like, writing these characters, regardless of how long they're in the film, like, they need to be, like, a real character, and that's why we gave them all these in-depth backstories, so, like, it doesn't matter if they have one line, even if it's just, like, a quick one. Like, there's a scene, you've seen it in the teasers, where it's, like, in the school, and there's a school teacher. She has one line. She's voiced by my good friend Asia Summers, and, like, it's a one-line thing, but her whole her whole backstory is, like, about, like, how and why she became a teacher and why she couldn't enlist and, like, all this stuff, and it's just like, we'll release it at some point. I'm pretty sure hers is the one where she couldn't enlist. And so she's like trying to teach, the school children about everything. Like, that is the kind of depth we want, even though her character has one line as the cadet runs out the door. But, it's still important to making a fully fleshed out world. Also, painting games, I don't think you have not asked your question, so feel free to drop that whenever you need to. I've sadly only played Wildlands, Breakpoint, and Future Soldier. See, those later games are the ones that I haven't played as much as. I thought they were, like, fun-ish. Like, I didn't mind them. But, like, I'm used to, like, old Ghost Recon. Bye, Jonah. I'm glad you were able to stop by. I saw you talk about experience in leveling a little bit with Sam Filmmaker. I was curious to get more of your take on what experience in leveling has gameplay mechanic means for real people. Oh. Like, how are we yeah, so, like, let me like, I figure I can yap about this for a little bit. I should probably get back to animating as well while I yap about it. But let's tackle that. Like, how do you handle mechanics from a game and put them into like a film medium. And I feel like this is honestly where a lot of film adaptations of video games kind of drop the ball. There is a failure to get like how am I trying to put this? There's a failure to translate what you experience in the game over. I'm at work, but yeah, my guys are either dead or not around for the next episode. LOL. Your bios are a good idea, though. Yeah, and it's just a good way to, like, kind of get people hyped. It's also just, like, super lightweight. Like, we've been sitting on the bios forever. We just haven't had the renders of the characters. So now that the film's almost done, we have all that. And we can share, like, screen stills and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's just like, a little added perk. But I don't want to lose my thought. So going, to the idea of how do you translate these game mechanics and like take something that is honestly like kind of foreign and put it into a film world. Because I always gotta ask myself when I'm working on these. I'm like, if when my mom goes and watches this, is she gonna know what's going on? Like that is something important I keep in my noggin, because like it would be easy to just be like fan service everything, like it's just that all the way through. And if you know what it is, then like you'll get it. But if you don't, it'll just be my mom being like, I'm so proud of you, sweetie. That's exactly what my mom sounds like. But, so with that, anytime that you take a game mechanic and translate it to film, it's got to make sense. I think like a good example of, because I don't want to give away too much about the Helldivers film, but I'll give like an overview example from when we did Titanfall New Frontiers, and then I'll kind of like talk a little bit about it from the perspective of Helldivers. So when we made New Frontiers, like there is in the game, when you level up your character in the multiplayer, you basically like you go through, you do what's called regeneration. And when you regenerate, it basically takes your character and puts them at level 0 on like all the weapons and stuff, but it unlocks new skins. And then you just re-level up everything, but it takes a little bit longer every time. So every time you level up, it takes a little bit longer to earn everything back. But then like once you have everything in that tier, you can do it again. And this came out at a time when microtransactions were way less predatory, and it was just like, you got the game, and now we're going to give you a reason to grind it for a long time. And you just get to earn stuff by playing the game more. Whoa! What a... like, all right. But that aside, so that's like in the game, and it's a very secondary kind of thing. It's just something that they do, and regeneration is just a lore excuse to take everything away from you, so you have to earn it all back. And it's like it is technically just a gameplay mechanic. So with that, in the Helldivers film, in Titanfall New Frontiers, that is like a whole plot point of there are characters, or at least like, one of the main characters, she's basically regenerated too many times. And like we came up with like this whole plot thing where like the more you regenerate, the less of yourself you become, because that is part of the Titanfall lore in the game with the regeneration. So like it ties in, and we made that like a whole story and plot point, that becomes like integral to how the entire film plays out. And that's like, I don't want to say like we're masters at it or anything, but that is a good version of taking something from the game, something that only really exists in that world because of the game, and turning it into a mechanic in the film. So that is something that, we're also doing in this film, by way of, a whole bunch of, mechanics and little things, within it. Things such as, I'm trying to think of something that is spoiler free. Oh, okay. So like, this is pretty like, well, I mean, that's more of an Easter egg. So maybe I won't give that one away. A good example from here that is a gameplay mechanic. So one would be just like, the way that you, level up, in the game. Obviously you play the game more, you level up, you get like these little badges that are just like, hey, you are a this now, right? But there was like a specific nod to, no, I'm not gonna get into spoilers. I'm not gonna get into spoilers. We'll avoid that here. But like, we wanted to have a reference to Starship Troopers. And so we were like, I wrote in the joke, or like the line of like, like basically like you're this rank now because your comrade died, like kind of a thing. And so like, that is, part of it. And like this, I don't think this counts as a spoiler per se. But like, it's in there because now that becomes like part of like these little gameplay cards that you get are now a part of how that levels up. I'm trying to like explain this without it like getting into spoiler territory, but if I was going to give like, oh, here's another great example. This is actually a good one that is zero spoilers whatsoever. It is literally just a one-off joke, but it's something in the game that is a mechanic that, becomes part of, like our world. Like we've adapted it because it can't be in the game. This will make sense in just a moment. So there's a scene where, they're dropping in. The cadet is going down on his first mission. He's nervous, he's in there. And when you load into a game, what happens? You go, you get into your hell pod, you go down, hell pods launch, you drop out, you sing "Bam Bam Bam Bam" with your friends as you go down, and then you sit there. And if it is a rough day on the Arrowhead network servers, you sit there for a little bit, and you wait. And on the screen, on the bottom of the screen, up come little subtitles, and it's got little hints and little lore drops and hidden things in there. And that is something that you can't put just on the screen in the film because it would throw you off. But in the game, as you're playing the game, as you're waiting for the game to load, you are a Helldiver. Those tips are being given to you to help you be effective in battle. So, in the film, in the Hell Pods, there is a little computer screen that gives them these tips as they're going down. And it's like, hold up, I posted a reel of it a while ago, just with like that particular joke, but I'll show you exactly what it looks like. Let me pull it up. Here we go. I'll enlarge my camera a little bit. I'll just go full camera so I can show you. But it looks like this. So it's hard to read because it's my bad webcam and looking at my phone, and then that's really bright and there's stuff bright behind me. But like that is something that is in the game. That's a mechanic in the game that you can only have by adapting it or changing it to put it in the film. So that is a good like low stakes version of the exact same thing, because it's like, you know, now that is something that is one, it's an additional joke in the film. But it also just like, you know, enhances the world. It enriches it a little bit more without having to explain to my mom, like, oh yeah, and when you're on the loading screen, it gives you tips. You know, she's gonna get it. Like they're going down, and it's giving them helpful tips that are probably randomized. You know, just to try and help them be as successful as possible. And so that is like, you know, a good version of that, or like kind of what you might be able to expect as far as like, you know, preparing, or like not preparing, but like what a like a gameplay mechanic would look like in that instance. Well, I gotta get up early for the academy class, so I better head to bed. Have a good night's sleep, everybody. You too, WAF. Enjoy New Hampshire. You are up there at a wonderful time. If you have the time and you have the means, you should head up towards Conway, up towards the White Mountains, up and down. Up and down is where all the good-looking stuff is. But if you don't want to go all the way up there, maybe go to like Mount Major or something. Could be fun. Wildlands was my intro to GR. Loved it. Played it 3 times, sadly, after playing BP. It feels unpolished. I don't know. The controls feel sluggish in comparison. You know, I feel like that's been something that's plagued like Ghost Recon games for a long time, honestly. Like, I feel like they've always felt that way. That's just a personal opinion. Well, on your first stream after Liberty Day, I will have to interrogate you about character. You will indeed. You will indeed. Yeah, it's gonna be so interesting to like one, watch live people watching the film, because I think it's going to have a lot of surprises and things that like people might not necessarily anticipate or like even expect from a fan film, which is going to be kind of cool, but it's also going to just be interesting because like when we were working on New Frontiers and stuff, like there was a little bit more of like people had more of a chance to get to know the characters and stuff, and like in this one, because it's Helldivers, I can't do that as much. And yeah, it's just like it's just so much more interesting this time around, and I'm gonna be very intrigued to see like how people respond to it, but then also like, how do they um like take it after the fact, I suppose. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I'll be very, very curious to see how that all shakes out. I don't know. It's gonna be like I feel like I've been living in secret because I've known the story and everything for so long, and people are following the film because it's Helldivers, and like I feel like they're gonna like just have like it's not like it's like bad or anything. I think it's just going to be like man, we were sitting there watching him animate, jumping in the live stream. If you commit treason, you'll be introduced to a democracy officer very quickly. Yeah, and I mean, it's again, I think I think people are gonna get a kick out of it. I'm so curious because like I've sent it to like a couple of like close friends just to make sure things like jokes and story and stuff are working. I've gotten some of that feedback back, and like so far it is, which is a good thing. But like even from like that perspective, there's like I was telling one of the writers recently because we were talking about it, and I was like, I've just been working on this for so long, and like one of my friends when she watched it, she was like, yeah, these were like my thoughts. This is what I liked. These were the jokes that I thought were funny, and da 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 da. And I was like, the joke that she thought was the funniest in the film, I forgot was a joke because I've heard it so many times, and I've just like I've watched through, and I've like it's I don't think it's definitely not spoilers to say because I won't say like what the joke was or anything, but like it's during a dialogue scene, and my brain has just tuned out that dialogue scene in its entirety, and there are so many jokes in it, and they're pretty good jokes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, especially like if you're a fan of Helldivers, you will get a kick out of that conversation. It'll make you laugh. Um, but I've heard it so many times now that like I forgot there were jokes in there. um, and like when she was like, yeah, like this, like that made me like crack up. I was like, I forgot that was a joke. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of that where I'm going to be like watching and just like seeing people's like, on the live, uh, like, um, like we'll do like a premiere. That's what they call it. We'll premiere it. And like, so to see people's like live reactions in the chat is just going to be so interesting because it won't be like, anything else. It's gonna be a good time. I feel like the camera needs to center up this logo a little bit more, but I think we're pretty close. That feels pretty cool. This next scene is all about cool points. How has using Unreal Engine been? All right. I love and I hate Unreal Engine. I mostly love it. Unreal Engine brought me back to filmmaking. Like I was at a point where I was like, I've been doing this for so long and I can only shoot things so many ways and get frustrated that I can't get it exactly the way that I want and all this other jazz. Had me frustrated for a long time. But I still loved filmmaking, telling stories, all that jazz. This got serious because I took off my glasses and now I can't see my computer screen. And, coming into, like coming up on, when was it? 2021. Whenever the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo came out, my brother sent it to me and I was like, whoa, that's like kind of crazy. Like what is this thing? And I started looking into it more, and a couple months later, like I downloaded it. I started getting to Blender, and I was like, Blender's like cool, but like it's not like exactly what I would want this to be. And then I got into Unreal Engine, and getting into Unreal, it opened up the doors of possibility for me of like, oh, this is like this is the level of control I've wanted in filmmaking that I haven't been able to have. Which was like game changing for me. And as I got like into it, I got like way too ambitious, way too fast. So like I started learning Unreal Engine and I would do like little things, and just like tinker. And then as I got more into it, that crash Unreal. Oh no, not my OBS, not my OBS, not my camera. My video card ran out of memory. I don't know if people can still hear me, if we're still streaming, if anything's going through, but it looks like it's still going through. It's just frozen on OBS. My OBS is frozen, but my stream is still going. So this is a prime example of the classic case of Unreal Engine. It never works all the time. It has so many problems, but there are so many good things about it. And I have to keep reminding myself that like this is a piece of technology that exists, which is like crazy. It's crazy that Unreal Engine exists. It's crazy that Unreal Engine is free. That's nuts. And like, I do really think that like either, like Unreal Engine or something similar will definitely be like the way of a lot of things in the future, especially in, the industry that I'm in. So like video and animation, 3D, all that kind of jazz. I mainly do like regular video stuff full time. Also, Unreal Engine's crashing again because it doesn't want to load this level anymore. And like, I don't know. At the end of the day, like I would not be able to do what I'm doing without using Unreal Engine. It would be impossible. It'd be impossible to get as many shots as we get done per day. Done like in this film. Let me turn off the foliage because that's gonna melt the computer. Like there are so many things that just like because they wouldn't be possible, like that alone makes it worth it to me to like deal with all the issues. Yeah, I don't know. So it's such a weird relationship to have with a piece of software, but like I feel like where I'm at is like I look at it and I'm like, this is crazy that I'm able to do this now. This tool exists and all these crazy things you can do even outside of what I'm doing with like animation. There are just so many other practical use cases for it. That is like, this is what I can do now in what's probably going to be like the worst release of this. It's only bound to get better and more intuitive, and like continue changing things up and leveling up, and computers are going to get better, and like it will be more of a way forward. And I feel like this is being in it, and getting into it a few years ago was like, this is definitely like the ground roots of what this will eventually become. And so that's been like an interesting perspective on it. I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question, or it was more just like an introspective for myself. Sam. But yeah, I mean there are so many things that I love about it, and there are things that are like very obviously like as I'm like tinkering around with it more and learning more about it, I'm like, okay, these are just like things that like I was clearly doing incorrectly, or like I had these inefficient processes, and Unreal Engine does have a better way of dealing with that. And there are other things where it's just like, no, this is just something that like is broken in the engine. It is mad annoying. A great example, I wanted to start experimenting with the most recent release of Unreal Engine, and when I went to go like test it in a scene, it like broke all the control rigs that this project has been made across, technically, if you include that one, 3 versions of Unreal Engine, and it like those rigs and everything work in the other 2, not a problem, and they're completely broken in that version of it. So it's got like its problems, absolutely, but there is, again, at the end of the day, I am like, but man, the stuff that I'm able to do, the stuff that I've always wanted to do in filmmaking, I can actually do. And that is way better than, going on set, not getting what I want, and like dealing with all that headache. I think like prime example. So one of the last films that I made, live action, that wasn't like for work, like the last time I made something, a film that was like more for me than anything else, I wanted to do like a like kind of like a like 1930s private eye, like psychedelic sci-fi acid trip. It's like basically the film. And like nobody quite got it, and it was like really hard to communicate like what it was and get people to like want to be invested in helping me make it. And then like shooting it, like it got pretty close to what I had in mind, but not quite. And like trying to like, communicate like, no, like I want it to be this way because of this thing. And, like working with people, and like it was such a tough process, and I couldn't just be like, this is like what I'm thinking. And there's actually a video game that came out recently, called Nobody Wants to Die, that is like very close to what I wanted to make with this short film. And the short film, it was only a few minutes long, and it wasn't nearly as good as I wanted it to be. And a lot of that having to do with those constraints. Fast forward a few years later, and the next like film I'm making for myself is a space drama about like about these giant robots and these like military factions and stuff. And all of a sudden there's a completely different world available to me. A whole new tool set. Granted, there are things that are extremely limiting about working in Unreal. I just find that the trade-off of those things are worth it more to me than, the headache that is traditional filmmaking. I would much rather do it in Unreal, despite how many times it crashes and stuff. I think my biggest problem is I am too ambitious. It's a huge problem for me. When I made New Frontiers, I didn't even know, one, that I could pull it off, but two, like, I'd never put together a scene before. I was just so hyped up. I was so excited about just the prospect of it that I hadn't even considered, like, I don't even know what it's going to look like if I put two camera shots together. I don't know what that's going to look like. It could look terrible. People might not buy that. And, but I just didn't care. I was just like full send. And I made all of New Frontiers. The only, like, the closest thing to like a scene that I'd ever put together was a tech test for that show. It was literally just to see, and like, this is back when like the facial animation tools were so much more limiting, but it was like, can somebody record their face on their phone, and I can clean up that audio using like newer audio filters. Can I clean up that audio and get their facial performance from their phone video and put it on a character, and then just act out what the character's doing? And it kind of worked, especially for what was available back then. It worked. It was crazy. Now it would be way better because there's just better tools, especially tools integrated directly in Unreal. But like, that was so crazy to me and got me so hyped up. It was really the metahumans thing was like the big thing for me, where I was like, this is insane that this is a possibility. And then I just kept chasing it. And then, like our Red Dead Redemption short was like a way bigger step in like getting that done well. And then like this one is just like way more traditional in terms of animation and everything, and looks a lot better and has way more polish, and every single shot is planned out. It just overall makes for a better end product. So we're definitely leveling it up. And I think Unreal is only going to get better. I think I'm dealing with a combination of the worst it's ever going to be and the least skilled I'm ever going to be in it. And that gives me hope. That makes me excited. Especially like, coming on the other side. Because like, there's a level of which I do a project and I get to like kind of like where I am right now. I get to this point and then it's like, okay, if I could go back to the beginning, and I had the option to start doing things over again, I 100% would. But I'm a big believer in like, no, you have to finish it. Like if you don't finish, if you go back and try to implement everything that you realized you were doing wrong, if you try to fix that now, like you're never going to get this done. And so like, I bite the bullet in that sense, but like, I just get like, as I'm closing like any given project, I'm getting hyped for the next one. Cause I'm like, I know every little thing that I need to fix now. Like I know where those problems are and how to, get around them now. And that like always gets me super hyped too. So I feel like I'm like kind of mega ranting on like your question of, do you like Unreal Engine? Yeah, I do. I also get really frustrated with it, but I think that's a lot of that is just filmmaking, because filmmaking is frustrating. Let's not beat around the bush there. Filmmaking's like one of the most frustrating and tedious things you could do. If we're just being honest. And then he shut his mouth. That was a lot of ranting followed by a lot of yapping followed by a lot of quiet. Now I'm just contemplating life. Sitting here wondering, who am I? What am I? Do I like soup? That's okay. I feel like I slowed you down by 20 minutes trying to answer my question. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. I really want to like I think there are a couple things, Alex, in particular. You have mentioned not wanting spoilers. Um like on a personal level. So like I want to try and avoid and respect that, but then like at the same time like there's so many things that I want to share that like I know when the film comes out like people are going to want to ask questions, you know. So I feel like there's definitely got to be like the film comes out and then play Helldivers and answer questions kind of stream, just so, you know, like all of this adds up, you know. Let's make sure we're not inside any plants. Hey yo, we're plant clear, baby. Woo, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Yeah, baby. Goodness, that shot went so much faster than the hour we spent on the other one. The automatons look peculiarly Skirby derby derb 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 derb. Skibbity wapapow. Yo, let's talk about this environment real quick. So this is a massive set that I built. That I went overboard with the last couple of days. It's got like way more foliage and looks better when I don't have the engine kind of like in poo poo mode. But it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. So one, it's like this automaton fort that is like built into this canyon wall, which is pretty cool. And then the canyon is pretty extensive. It's never really supposed to get up to this height. You're never really supposed to be all the way up here. But I just wanted to like kind of like have verticality enough to be able to, you know, follow the hell pods down, and then being able to look kind of in any direction. So like when you're like, you know, even all the way up here, like you look out and you can still see a landscape. And when you have characters, like there's like tons of depth out there, right? So that was like part of designing it. Another part was just like, you know, making the automaton factory and stuff feel alive. That's something that like I've done a little bit more of every time I've worked on a scene in the film. Is just like, okay, how do I just like turn on like free animation and stuff, and because it's like from the game and whatnot. And like there's been a couple times where I've done like custom animations, but it's like, if I go and I simulate the map, you can see stuff just starts moving. All of this is just free animation. I never have to think about it. It's just motion happening in the background, which makes the world feel more alive, which is like pretty cool. And it just gives way more to the film and everything. So like, having elements like that is like super cool. I'm pretty sure this tower turns, it just goes super slow. Yeah, it does. It goes incredibly slow. But yeah, so that's like, something that I want to also add to it. So every time that I render, there's just like somewhere, if we're looking at something, there is motion kind of going on in the background. So that just gives the fort more life. And then I just tried to come up with like, little story wise, like what are they doing as they get up to the fort. And I want like a Warhammer 40K shot now of like, this is kind of like on my wish list, but like them going up and seeing the blood, their blood pit. Recently scraped clean, or sorry, YouTube. Their ketchup kit, their ketchup pit where they manufacture ketchup. For sure. Ketchup pit. TM. But yeah, so there's a little bit of that, and then like even with like these rock formations out here, like I wanted to have like as little repeat as possible. So a lot of these are individual assets. There's very few duplicate assets, and when they are, you can't really see them from like the same kind of angle. I will say I did get kind of lazy in trying to do the terrain. I was trying to do this in a rush. I finished the scene this morning. So it's got all the narrative elements that I need to work with, and then anything additional that I want to add, I certainly can. But yeah, just thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about that a little bit. Showing off, guys, what I'm working on. I have no idea what that was. All right. We need robots looking peculiarly. But my wife is doing something with the dishwasher. Wife, what are you doing with the dishwasher? 31 frames. 31. Does anybody have a favorite character bio so far? I've noticed that my boy Lewis has been getting a good amount of love. Fun fact, that character is voiced by Viper from Titanfall 2. Do with that what you will. I feel like this definitely needs to be like a trooper. Maybe 2 troopers and a berserker. They just stand in here like dum-dums. They'll break you down. They'll take you out. They'll break you down. Like, what? They'll break you down, take you out. It ain't gonna stop. Y'all. In this family, We have been loving K-pop Demon Hunters, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. The more I'm like, this movie kind of goes crazy, kind of slaps real hard. That's all I'm going to say about that. Do with that what you will, citizen. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this guy. Who's it? Where did you go? Sir. 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 Where are you? And I'm so sorry. Where the heck did this guy go? Guess we're gonna delete you. And bring you back. Under the glow of the stratagem chamber, I activated my hell pack, and as my clock ticks to 0, I give a salute to liberty and the Federation. And to the Hulk in front of my, I offer a salute. Such cinema. Absolute cinema. Of the single finger. Yark. Sometimes I will talk to my kids exclusively in pirate voice, and they think it's really funny for like a few minutes, or at least my oldest. My oldest thinks that was mildly discomforting. I apologize. Did I just join an ASMR stream? What's up, Dabster Fox? Welcome to the streams. Good to have you here. No, sometimes I'll talk to my kids, specifically my oldest, in exclusively pirate voice, and he thinks it's really funny at first, and then he gets over it so fast. But as a dad, I need to do more of it, you know? Gotta do more pirate voice. I don't even think he knows, because he doesn't watch SpongeBob. So I don't even think he knows I'm doing the SpongeBob voice when I'm doing it. Because I usually hit him with the, hold up. I'll hit him with the yarg. And I'll go, are you ready, kids? And then I usually have to do the callback because, again, doesn't watch SpongeBob. I think we tried to have him watch SpongeBob one time, and he just wasn't into it at all. Dad gotta do what Dad gotta do. That's right. My man, Dabster Fox, he gets it. He out here. He out here playing on level 6. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Y'all, I was up late last night working on this environment, actually. That's pretty funny. Hold up. He can totally just slow turn to these guys, and these guys can slow turn to him. I keep it steady level 7 around these here points. A steady level 7. He out here at a steady level 7. Little Willie playing level 7. I tried playing Helldivers. Well, on my treadmill, I can't do above difficulty 6 without falling off. That would be pretty intensive. Oh, yo, oh my, ah! Team Spyglass has joined the stream. How you doing, bud? How you doing? It's been too long. I was thinking about you. You were floating around in the Nugget Factory. And I was thinking about you, and I was like, man, I gotta message him. And then I totally blanked out on it. I've been super busy with this film. But I've been thinking about you, man. I hope you're doing good. I've been meaning to reach out just to see how you've been doing. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Spyglass, was integral to writing New Frontiers back in the day. So, super phenomenal dude. And he made the first meme of my channel, and it was the absolute peak of my career. Honestly, I believe I stated that as a fact. I can't remember if I still have it saved, but it always made me smile. It always made me laugh. It brought me true wonderful joy. I don't know why I'm saying that like I'm Donald Trump. It brought me true joy. I love it every single time. My Donald Trump sounds like a girl trying to impersonate Donald Trump, and girls are too girly to impersonate Donald Trump. I feel like I should probably cut that off there. I was gonna see if I could find the meme. I feel like I have it somewhere. But yeah, you made the first meme of me, and I always thought it was so funny. And I probably do have it saved in Google Drive somewhere, but I'm not seeing it at the moment. I made a lot of memes during New Frontiers, and it was one of the old originals. Yeah, I'm not seeing it right away. But Team Spyglass. So stoked for the Helldivers film, my dude. It's looking amazing. Thank you. Yeah, let's chat offline. Because I would be curious to know. I don't know if you're still working on your Titanfall film or anything, but would just be good to catch up. Y'all ever blown your nose so hard you fart twice? I can't say blowing my nose, but I've definitely farted. I've definitely farted while sneezing And that is terrible because it goes out both ends at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And it's like sneezing, like especially when you got like the dad sneeze, is already terrible enough. Sneezing and farting at the same time when it's going full velocity both directions. I tried to do that straight for too long. No, that is the ultimate definition of terrible. Watch my stream viewership either go straight up or straight down. I don't know. Give me your your thoughts. Sneezing and farting at the same time. Definitely pretty bad. I can't say that I have blown my nose and farted twice, though. These guys. This should be a meme right here. This is the face not even a mother could love. Farts are the ghosts of trapped food. Oh, why did that make me laugh so hard? Ghosts. Farts are the ghosts of trapped food. That's so true. They do boo. Worse than boo. Sometimes they poo. See you, Dabster. See you. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Always love when you jump in the streams. Bring a lot of fun. Bring a lot of joy. Bring a lot of managed democracy. I'm going to go downstairs and my wife is going to be like, you went on about that whole fart poop thing for way too long. Be like, you won't understand. Poop's funny. Fart jokes are funny. No, she actually does understand. She is quite the poop fart joker as well. And she's not in chat to say otherwise from what I can observe. Alright. It's 3 shots down. 3 shots down on a single stream. Alright, this one is called Hell Pods Don't Move. That is this next shot. I feel like it's probably going to be top down, looking at the lids. Because they're not coming out right away. This, I just remembered. Again, so many things that like are in the film where we wrote in so long ago. I forgot that they are a part of the film. This is a reference to Helldivers 1. Because in Helldivers 1, your character, Dancing Queen, you and me, my little Marines. Whoa! Don't come after me for saying the word that in the copyright. No, just the idea that like in the first game you literally climb into and climb out of your hell pod. Was something that we wanted to include. See that girl watching me, you're the Hell Marine. Yo. Alright. Fun little tidbit. I don't know if you guys have seen, it's quite a bit older now, but there was an image. There was an image floating around in the Helldivers community pretty specifically last year. But it was like a Warhammer Hell Marine whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're moving too fast. There was an image going around of that, and it like went pretty viral and whatnot. And as it turns out, my friend's son made it, and he had sent it. His dad, the guy I'm friends with, sent it to me because he knew I was working on the Helldivers project and knew I'd appreciate it. And was just like, "Hey, look at what my son made," and I was like, "Yo, that's pretty cool. I love it." And moved on. And then one day I was like scrolling through Reddit, and I saw the same image, and I was like, "Hey, didn't your son make this?" And he was like, "Yeah, he did." I was like, "Yeah, it's like huge on Reddit right now." So that was a pretty cool little thing. And maybe we'll just have the we'll use the snapper. Are you filming with artist Chechen? He's made a lot of art and emblems for the community. Yeah, me and Chechen have chatted a little bit. We talked about having him work on this film, but he's pretty busy with a bunch of his own stuff. I really wanted to work with him in EPG 6, but the timing just didn't work out. But Chechen's a cool guy. Nice. Up, 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 up. All right. This next one for HellPod Tops. Pump off. I'll probably do this next one, and then I might call it on stream. I was working on this scene, like building the environment until about 2:30 in the morning last night. Worked a full day today. Today was very busy at work. And so I think I might call it after this one, and then just like plan, through the weekend and stuff, just to crank on so much of this. The animation has been flying by, especially at this stage, especially because like I've got more of it figured out and stuff. Like, there have been elements of it that are just like going lightning fast now. It's been interesting. Just from a perspective of like there are some scenes that I fly through, and like I'll work on the scene for a couple days and then it'll just completely be done. Some scenes are even shorter than that. And I'm just like, man, that was it. That's all she wrote. Just kind of interesting. It is funny. Oh, goodness. I am getting sleepy. Do you have a regular job outside of making YouTube? Yeah, because I don't make anything off of YouTube right now. Yeah, I have a regular schmegular 9 to 5. Where I do video. I make videos, YouTube videos, Facebook videos, Instagram videos. Actually, less of that. I used to do that more full time. Yeah, I mean, it pays the bills. It keeps the lights on. Keeps me and my family fed like good American patriots. And yeah, I mean, it's like it is one of those things that like it is necessary to make it, but man, would it be cool to do this, full time. Yo, what's up? A bad password. The man, the myth, the legend himself. No, if I could do like the plot coalition thing full time, dude, 1000%. I would much rather take a project like this and have that be my in and out focus every day as long as it paid the bills. Which we are in a point in time, just technologically and demand and everything, like where that could be a very real possibility. I'm just, again, kind of going back to when Sam Filmmaker was asking earlier about, do I like Unreal and stuff like that. It's just like, because it's also new, like, you kind of have to just pioneer it until somebody is like, whoa, holy smokes. That is such an inefficient way to do what we've been trying to do for years. We will let you do that. Which would be super cool. But for the time being, it's like I work full time, I take care of my family, and then I do this, late at night or early in the morning, depending on what time I wake up. But if I could turn this into like, the thing, abso-friggin-lutely would be very, very cool. Which is one thing that, like, I'm hoping the Helldivers film pushes things or begins to push things in that direction. How far along are you percentage-wise with the animation before VFX and color grading and all of that? So animation-wise, I'm wrapping up the remaining 2 scenes, and the animation, like, obviously, like, the animation is still being worked on and, like, doing, like, the rendering and stuff, but the animation team has been stepping it up like crazy to get me stuff for these last 2 scenes. So a lot of it is just gonna be me plugging stuff in. I've done every other scene like pretty much all the way through, so it's like at a point where I'll be able to start on VFX soon. I've got some other folks helping out and starting on VFX already for shots that are already like done, and then I'll just be able to hop in and join them and burn right through. But my hope is to have animation done entirely this week, so that I can give that more of my focus, visual effects and whatnot. Because, like, honestly, like, the visual effects, like, they will take time, obviously, because there's a lot of explosions and different effects and stuff. But, like, I know there are things in visual effects that I can just do faster because I've been doing VFX for a long time. I'm not sure I love this shot. I want to find something else. This is another thing, Sam Filmmaker, if you're still watching, go ahead, John. Ask your question. More than happy to answer. But to Sam Filmmaker's question earlier, like, I just, like, set up and I looked at that shot and I was able to watch it a few times in real time. Granted, I'm watching with the engine scalability pretty low right now, just because of streaming and stuff. But I was able to watch it a few times and be like, I don't like that shot. And I know it's going to cost me seconds to go find a new one. Something that I might like more. So, like, that's just another, like, Unreal Engine W. John, you got me wondering what this question's gonna be. How many animations have you made? Uh, that's a tough question to answer. I have assigned out like a decent amount. Let's see here. What is the sum of these shots? So there was originally, like at the top of our animation spreadsheet, there are 742 shots spanning, according to this original spreadsheet, there's been a little bit of variation, deviation since. Mainly there's been more that has been added. But there are 66,206 frames. This is going to make me sick thinking about this. 742 shots. I would say generously, I have probably like 2 other animators doled out probably 40 realistically. They've been amazing. People have been able to do much better than I could have ever done with those animations, which is why I assigned them out to them. But that means, and there's part of me that is getting a little bit sick thinking. Yeah, 700 animations for this film in less than a year. Because if you want just like realistically where this was at production wise, animation on this didn't begin. The first animations that were done for this film were in the teaser trailer, the original one that was made. So that was released in February. That teaser trailer took about 5 weeks to make and had very minimal animations in it. So since that came out in February, yeah, let's be super generous and just say from there that is 650 animations, and some of them are longer than others. Granted, I'm doing like the last little bit now, but like, you know, that is it pales in comparison to the rest that have already been done, especially for like scenes where it's like, you know, there's one scene where of those 742 shots, it contains 200 of those shots in one scene. So definitely a lot. And I am getting queasy thinking about that. I have not thought about that at all until you asked that question. And now I'm like, holy smokes. That is so many animations. Any of y'all think a 4th race is going to invade on Liberty Day this month? There's enough space on the hollow table for another race. I think it could be possible. I don't know if it's going to happen on Liberty Day. But who knows? I will be very curious to see. If it happens on Liberty Day, man, oh man, would that be, or would that have been cool to like have insider knowledge on and like put in the film, you know? We become the longest most involved Helldivers film that also had day one information. I'll wait for it to come out. I'll wait for the game to drop in Australia and very quickly throw in a last minute scene, export it, and then upload to YouTube. There are little things that just with how late production's going, you know, we're getting little things in there that like would have been impossible for us to get otherwise. We have in the film, I'm very proud to say, I'm a proud papa, and I'm so thankful to some of our team members for making this happen. We have a Stephen Caves reference. Like there is a moment where you see a poster for Stephen Caves in the film. And it's not like in the background, like it is like in the animation. Like the poster is moved aside in the animation, and I am so proud that that exists in the film because that is a relatively new piece of Helldivers lore. It's just like, you know, kind of cool to see. It's somewhat horrifying thought that the Illuminate are losing territory from outside the system, so it definitely feels like something is coming soon. True. I'll be interested to see. Yep, my shots always have multiple cameras left over from coming up with multiple angles for the same shot. Yeah, and like, you know, there's times where like I have stuff and I'm like, you know, oh, this would be cool, and then it's like, you know what, but I do kind of want to see it from this other angle, and I'll just render both of them out. And again, in Unreal Engine, that is so fast and easy to do that it is 100% worth it every single time, because I usually get a shot that I either like more, like I'm just like, cool, and now I also have this. All right. Okay. Let's see. We got... Oh. Stream acting up. We having stream issues? Did we lose the stream? Oh, no. Looks like we're back. All right. So, after John gave me... Come back, Internet. Come back. There we go. Jeez Louise. But anyway, I feel like we're probably in a good spot for me to stop. I'll render these shots out, get a good night's sleep, and dive back in tomorrow to get stuff wrapped up. Folks, we are so close to the end. By this time next week, I am hoping I start the stream by saying, guys, all of it's done. Animation is done. I don't need to animate anymore. Now I am bum rushing to the finish with visual effects and sound design, and you're coming along with me. I hope that's what I'm saying this time next week. So, anyways, thanks to you all for watching. Thank you for tuning into the live streams. Just like working on this project and being able to work on it and have people consistently popping in and hanging out is super cool. It means a lot. Even though I don't get as much done on the live streams, I think it's good just for my mental psyche. So thank you all so much for hanging out and being a part of this journey. We'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll be able to say those sweet, sweet words, and we'll be able to take this to the finish line. If this isn't done next week, I might need to rethink some stuff, but I think we'll be in good shape. All right. That is it. Thank you so much for hanging out, having a good time. If you're not a member, consider becoming one, but hey, if you just want to be a viewer, I'm just happy to have you here. This is the most prolonged end to a stream. We'll be seeing you later. Bye-bye.